Hi guys, welcome to the Away Fan Chat Show. I'll be joined by Nick Williams from That Chelsea Pod. I'll be chatting to him ahead of this weekend's big game in the Premier League as Leicester take on Chelsea in a 12:30 kickoff. Chelsea, obviously top of the Premier League, who face Leicester, who's not really had the greatest start to the season. Can Brendan Rodgers turn the tide? We shall see. We'll be talking to Nick about all things Leicester City and obviously Brendan Rodgers. His time at Chelsea and that. So we'll get his thoughts on Brendan Rodgers and some ex-Foxes who's also played for the Lions. So we'll get his thoughts on them. Guys, as always, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV if you're new watching tonight. If you're watching on playback, we are live 7 days a week. Monday with a Fan Zone show. Tuesday with the WSL Weekly show. Wednesday with the Away Fan Chat show tonight. Premier League Prediction show returns tomorrow with Tom. His guest is Dora on tour, Nottingham Forest fan. Don't get booing too quickly. Leicester fans, behave yourself. Premier League pre-match show with Reedy on Friday, looking into the Leicester camp. At the crucial game in the Premier League. The watch-along returns at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And the aftermath show with Jamie on Sunday. So get your tea and coffees ready for Jamie. Put your feet up and enjoy his show on Sunday at 10 o'clock. As always, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook, Snapchat, Periscope, wherever you can find us at Leicester Fan TV. Follow us, push that notification button on YouTube, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. As always, it'd be much appreciated. And let's get going, shall we? See you in a minute.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Away Fan Chat Show. Let's get a few good evenings in then. Mike Rook, hello, how are you? Evening, Maz. Can I see the women's game anywhere tonight? I'm guessing not. It's on Durham Radio. Shame it's not showing live on the FA Player tonight. But it will be on Sunday. Brief, as always, go and support the girls this weekend at the Pirelli as they take on Everton in the WSL. Tickets are very cheap. Ian, hello. Andy Meadows, at the moment, I don't think Brendan could turn the central heating on. Well, it's getting pretty cold. Andy Medhurst going up to winter. So, Gareth, Taylor, evening. Hi, Facebook user. Aggie, how are you, pal? Really hope you're well, mate. Fad, hello, how are you? Guys, as always, get your comments in. We want your views. Smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. If you're new watching, drop us a follow. I will now be joined by Nick Williams from That Chelsea Pod. So let's get him in then. Nick, how are you, mate?
Hi, Jack. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. It's pleasure to be on. I look forward to this.
Yeah, so Nick, tell everybody, all the neutrals, and about your podcast and that. What do you do for Chelsea Football Club?
Well, the podcast is run by me and my mate Jack. We went to school together, and in the lockdown, we kind of got bored, and I just sent him a message. Do you want to start doing a pod talking about Chelsea? He said yes, and we've kind of gone from there, and we've been going probably about 18 months, I guess, roughly. It's quite simple. It's just, one pod a week, usually just talking about the games. Sometimes, joined by various people from the Chelsea Twitter community, some of our friends, and, sometimes we're very lucky to be joined by some Chelsea journalists as well. So we try and, provide as good a content as we can.
Yep. thoughts on Frank Lampard, our next Leicester manager? Well, it's a lot of rumours. Brendan Rodgers circulating to Manchester United. Every single day we get a rumour. At the minute, it's just paper talk, so we'll squash it right there. Frank Lampard is manager. Well, you tell me, would you want Frank Lampard as manager to replace Brendan Rodgers if Brendan Rodgers left for Man United? Well, Nick will tell you about Frank Lampard, a fantastic player, but didn't really cut out as a manager, did he, Nick? But he was good with the younger players, bringing them through, wasn't he, at his time at Chelsea?
Yeah, look, I'll just cut to say, I don't think Leicester should go for Frank. I think ultimately he is a step down from Brendan Rodgers. That's just because I think Brendan Rodgers is a really good manager. You've got Frank, who is learning his trade still. He's young and inexperienced, and where Leicester have got to under Rodgers, you've just missed out on the Champions League on the last day, 2 seasons running. Obviously, I know this season's not quite gone to plan for you guys, and you maybe had a bit of a slow start. But I think Frank will be a brilliant manager. I think he's got all the capabilities to be a brilliant manager. But if I'm Leicester, I don't know necessarily who's out there, but I think you can probably get someone better than Frank. But look, I think Frank will be a brilliant manager. He did some brilliant things for Chelsea. He obviously had his flaws. We kind of got what we expected with Frank. We knew there'd be some really good moments. We also knew there'd be probably some painful lows and some teething problems. And ultimately, things started really well. We got top 4. Not many people expected us to in his first season. We reached an FA Cup final where, unfortunately, things didn't go our way. If he wins an FA Cup, all of a sudden everyone's looking at top 4 FA Cup. That's really good. As a result, people kind of looking at it, but he just got top 4 and then he got sacked when he wasn't able to necessarily work with, all these new players he brought in. So now Frank is one where, look, there's, a lot of goodwill from him from Chelsea fans. There always will be. There's some, he did give us some brilliant memories as manager. We had a couple brilliant away days either side of Christmas away at Spurs and Arsenal under him. Brilliant games against Ajax in the Champions League. So now I have nothing but good memories from Frank. But obviously, Leicester, if you're, the position you're in as a club, the direction you're hoping to go, Frank Lampard would obviously be a clear step down from Brendan Rodgers.
Yep. Frank obviously brought through Mason Mount, didn't he? Hudson-Odoi, Reece James. He gave the English talent a chance at Chelsea, and look how great they've turned out. Mason Mount, incredible midfielder. Reece James has turned into a right handful at right back. Hudson-Odoi needs to start taking his chances, doesn't he? Or he'll end up leaving next summer. But Tuchel wants to keep him, doesn't he, at Chelsea?
Yeah, the Callum Hudson-Odoi thing's, really interesting because with Callum Hudson-Odoi, we've kind of, he's kind of crazy. He burst actually onto the scene about 3 or 4 years ago under Maurizio Sarri. He made his debut this season before under Antonio Conte. So that kind of shows, how the promise has been there. And yeah, he's unfortunately did have a sort of a serious, injury at back end of the Sarri season that kind of set him back. But with Callum, it's kind of just been a case of Chelsea have never really committed to him. It's, he's never really been afforded the same opportunities that others have had. I mean, Christian Pulisic, when he's been fit, has been afforded a lot more opportunities than he has. Even someone like Hakim Ziyech, who has struggled at Chelsea, has been afforded more opportunities. And to be honest, it's kind of taken, this season especially, it's kind of taken Romelu Lukaku being injured, Timo Werner being injured, Hakim Ziyech being, out of form and injured, and Christian Pulisic being injured for Callum, and Mason Mount missing a few games as well, for Callum Hudson-Odoi to actually finally get a proper go in his favourite position on the left-hand side of a front three, sort of in this period after the international break. And to be honest, he's actually been one of our best players, and he has really taken that opportunity. So now the hope is, starting with Leicester of the weekend, that he gets that start because he deserves it and he's warranted it. But he can kick on. But it is obviously, it is a big time with Callum because it's been, 3 or 4 years. He's made 100 odd appearances, and we still don't quite know what Callum Hudson-Odoi is, but he obviously can be a very, very special talent for us.
Yeah, obviously Lamps brought in Timo Werner, didn't he? Kai Havertz. How have them guys fitted in the model of Chelsea? Obviously Thomas Tuchel took over last season, won the Champions League, came runners-up in the FA Cup to Leicester. How have things changed under Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea since he's took over?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we just look a lot better team. Defensively, a lot more solid. Look, Frank, there was it was entertaining at times, but also, heart attack central at points, the amount of goals we conceded. Under Thomas Tuchel, I don't know the stats, but we keep a ridiculous amount of clean sheets. We conceded our first, league goal in open play against Burnley just before the international break. Before that, I think were two from penalties and one from, I think, a set piece. So that kind of shows how, dominant we've been at the back. He is, just really got the most out of this squad, and he's actually not been afraid to use some of these fringe players, these squad players. But someone like Frank, one of the biggest criticisms there was he isolated too many players, I mean, even this season, people like Ross Barkley, who we didn't think would have a future, is being given opportunities to play. I mean, we saw him get a start against Burnley, and he wasn't amazing, but he also wasn't awful. So it's kind of one of the things. He has kind of revitalized a lot of players. He's revitalized a lot of players' careers. Antonio Rudiger has gone from being someone, a year ago we were happy to sell to now being one of the best defenders in Europe, and we're desperate for him to sign a contract. Yeah. He's done huge amounts for this squad. Obviously, I know you mentioned Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Those players have been frustrating. Timo Werner and Kai Havertz just haven't really hit the ground running for Chelsea. They've had moments. Obviously, Kai Havertz will always be remembered and loved for that goal in the Champions League final. He's got Chelsea legendary stats, whatever. But there is obviously the frustration that those players haven't really kicked on. And to be fair, a lot of our attack under Tuchel hasn't actually kicked on. But Thomas Tuchel has done so much good for Chelsea Football Club. He is so loved by the fans. I thought coming in after Frank, that would actually be really hard for him due to the amount of love the fans have for Frank. But Tuchel had just been he is so loved by the fans. And he is probably, the best, one of the best managers involved. We are very lucky to have him. So, it's all really good on Thomas Tuchel. And say it's a really exciting time to be a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. Let's move on to this weekend's game then. Shall we, Nick? Obviously, last time round you visited the King Power, it was 2-0 defeat for Chelsea. Wilfred Ndidi and James Maddison. Obviously, the Frank Lampard era when we beat you last time round at the King Power. Let's have a look at the stats head-to-head. Obviously, Leicester's won 28 times, drawn 34 times, with Chelsea lost 58 times. It's not really a great stat to look at, the losers side of it. What are your thoughts here on Brendan Rodgers then? Obviously, he spent quite a bit of time at Chelsea with the youth players and that. What are your thoughts on him as a manager now?
Yeah, look, no, I think Brendan Rodgers is a brilliant coach. First of all, look, I'm lucky enough that my pod co-host Jack, he actually has, been able to have some of, a few years ago, had some of the youth academy players stay live house due to the location. And they have actually been, talking to them, but a lot of young players, especially when Brendan Rodgers, Brendan Rodgers just spoke so highly of him in his time there. Obviously, I think he's actually done really well to rebuild his career after Liverpool. Kind of the way it ended at Liverpool wasn't great. He went to Celtic, cleaned up there, and he's come to Leicester, and he is, kind of, Ben, it kind of feels like he's given you guys an identity. Maybe it felt like, you had the title win under Ranieri, and that was great. And then it all went wrong. And then you kind of had Puel, and it was a bit like, what are Leicester trying to achieve type thing. It kind of feels like Rodgers has given you a clear direction. That I think he is obviously an ambitious manager. If the United job came, he would obviously take it. I think it's obvious Manchester United, with great respect, is a step up from Leicester City. But, it's a tough one. United is also not an easy club to manage at. There is a lot of issues up there. I think you've seen that, a lot of more proven managers and Rodgers have gone there and struggled to have success. So it's interesting. Look, obviously, you watch Leicester more than me. You kind of have a better gauge on Brendan Rodgers, and this season obviously hasn't gone perhaps how you guys would like. But I think he is still a top manager, and obviously should, from the outside looking in, really hope for Leicester's point of view he stays, because he did feel like he's building something to say the last 2 seasons. You've just missed out on Champions League football on the last day of the season.
Yeah, Brendan, fantastic job he's done at Leicester. He's got the best win rate as a Leicester manager. He's done incredibly well. Won the FA Cup, won the Community Shield, 2 top 6 finishes. What's not to love about that? Obviously, this season isn't going the way Fox's fans is expected to start off. But normally we fall off in the second half and really good in the first half. Maybe this season it'll be swapped round. Brendan Rodgers can be frustrating the way he sets up. Obviously, his passing around the back isn't great to watch as a football fan. We just want Brendan to attack. And when he does get this attacking sort of game about him, Leicester can be unstoppable. And it shows that. But obviously, Brendan plays that free at the back, sort of with wing backs, and obviously sometimes it's difficult to do. But if you look at a team like Manchester City, in that they come out quite quickly, don't they, from that? But with Leicester, it's about quite a lot of learning. But hopefully, we'll get better as the season goes on. Why would Brendan go from a great atmosphere and all of the great planning to a chaos at Man United? Well, who wants to manage £80 million Harry Maguire? given the armband at Man United, it's not been the greatest. I mean, Mark's Electrical have obviously sold him to Man United. He's like a fridge. He's awful at defending, Harry Maguire. I know he scored for England against Albania, but what's that really? Scoring against teams like that, but obviously it will obviously mean something to him, but it won't answer his critics until he's back at Man United and proving a point. I mean, let's have a look at foot in both camps then, Nick. Alan Birchinall played for Chelsea. Dennis Wise, Leicester fans hate him. Danny Drinkwater, who's went for £35 million, who's now at Reading. His career's gone downhill. Muzzy, is it? Much loved by the Foxes faithful. Frank Sinclair. Robert Hoof, title winner at Leicester, and Mark Schwarzer. Do you remember much of them players, Nick, watching Chelsea growing up?
Oh, look, well, a few of them were before my time, but I can obviously, we kind of touched briefly on there. Danny Drinkwater has been an unmitigated disaster of a signing. That's fair to say, although, I was there to see his one Chelsea goal, which was a lovely goal against Stoke. But he has been nothing short of a disaster. It's been kind of just an embarrassment, really, how he has carried himself while he's been here as well. And it's just one of those, count down the days till he leaves Chelsea Football Club. Obviously, I saw there Mark Schwarzer was there. He, when he was here, he was just our backup keeper for a season. It was pretty good. A top guy by all accounts. Played in the Champions League, semi-final for us. And obviously, he went to Leicester. I think he joined you in the January as a backup keeper and he's ended up, been also able to get you, Premier League winners medal. So no, I think so. Credit to him. Robert Hoof. Yeah, again, he was, when I was there when I was very young, so I don't necessarily remember him hugely. But a decent player. Was obviously was also very young there, and obviously what he's achieved, what he achieved at Leicester has been, was incredible. Sort of that story, him, Wes Morgan in that defence, winning a Premier League title is really incredible. I think you saw Frank Sinclair there again, slightly before my time, but obviously scored in the cup final for us. Muzzy, I think was there. Don't think he actually made an appearance for Chelsea, or at least that's what Wikipedia said. I just had to Google beforehand, so obviously can't really say a huge amount about him. And then say Alan Birchall was unfortunately a player before my time, as we kind of also discussed off air. But yeah, look, I do think there's probably quite a lot of love, maybe less so in recent years due to maybe the top four battle in the FA Cup final between us, but there was obviously a lot of love between Chelsea and Leicester when we did help you guys win the league, and that did give us great satisfaction. So now let Leicester, are a good club, I like how Leicester are run, the way they do things, and as I said, it's probably rare in football, but losing that cup final to you last season, if there was a team to lose to, I could kind of take losing to Leicester, because I do think Leicester are a really well-run club, and they do a lot of things good there.
Yep. Lloyd asked, what would be your opinion on Rodgers if he did leave for Man United this season? There'll be no hate there whatsoever, mate. Brendan Rodgers has done incredible for this football club since arriving from Celtic. There'll be no hate there. You'd obviously wish him all the best. Obviously, Man United are a big club. European, won a lot of trophies. And obviously, they're the elite. They're an elite football club, even though they're struggling at the minute with Solskjaer in charge. But I think the right manager for Man United will get them back up there. Let's talk about two others then, Nick. Foot in the camp. Mr. Ben Chilwell arrived from Leicester for £50 million. Has he been worth the money you spent on him?
Yeah. 50 million down the drain as Ben Chilwell scores again is I coined that on our pod last week. I quite like, obviously, that's kind of a reference to the Man United tried about Anthony Martial, but no, Ben Chilwell has been, a brilliant sign. There were a lot of doubts about signing him for Leicester. I think he was coming off of back of not a brilliant final season with you guys, if I remember correctly. Again, all that kind of with COVID kind of just blends into one for me. But now he's been a brilliant signing. Obviously, he started off, quite well under Frank, and then when things got tough, like a lot of players, struggled under Thomas Tuchel, brilliant, adapted to left wing back role, brilliant. He finished last season really strongly and was kind of a victim of circumstance, the fact that, he played the Champions League final, got to England late. As a result, Luke Shaw got the starting berth. He didn't get a game then in the Euros and then came back to Chelsea short of games. So then he had to play catch up, but he's got his place, he's won his place back in the side. He is, just a brilliant player, and it's him and Reece James as our wing backs just give us so much more going forward than Marcos Alonso and Cesar Azpilicueta when they play there. So now Ben Chilwell has been, a brilliant piece of business. we absolutely adore him at Chelsea. And yeah, he's, hopefully be here for a long time to come and help us win lots of trophies.
I think with Chilwell, from a Leicester fan's point, I don't think he's worth £50 million. He's one of them who's got all the pace and he can't defend. I mean, he did that quite a lot at Leicester. I mean, 10 games before that season ended, obviously we played you in the FA Cup, didn't we? Ross Barkley scored. There were rumours speculating he didn't want to play for the club. He had already had an eye on going to Chelsea, and obviously that summer he'd obviously left after. He'd always had an eye on leaving Chelsea, but if you're not focused on the club that you're already at, what's the point of putting the shirt on in it as a player? You've got to be committed 100%. There's no good looking elsewhere when you're through a season and you're playing for the football club. You play for the badge and not look at how big you're going to be elsewhere. And I think that's how Chilwell looked at it. Obviously, not many Leicester fans rated him as a player. You guys might rate him really highly now, obviously winning the Champions League. But I mean, that FA Cup moment where he scored against us and then they ruled it out, what a delight that was watching that at Wembley. His face completely dropped. But, that's something we can move on from. The next one then, Mr. Lover, N'Golo Kante, the French international. Absolutely incredible player. He got referred as Claude Makelele, one of your players, when he was at Leicester. And what a fantastic player he is. He's an engine. He's like a battery what doesn't run out. N'Golo Kante is an incredible player. He won the Premier League under Conte. Obviously won the Premier League title at Leicester. And what a season to have him. And what an incredible player. But for £35 million, I feel we got robbed. I mean, we could have got more if it wasn't for that contract clause. He's obviously won the Champions League at Chelsea and that now. What are your thoughts on N'Golo Kante, Nick?
Yeah, I genuinely think I've kind of had this conversation with people and it's more popular. I think N'Golo Kante is going to probably go down as one of Chelsea's greatest ever players. I genuinely think that. He's only been here 4 or 5 years, but the impact he's had, I mean, Jorginho was exceptional about Champions League run, but N'Golo Kante next to him was as well. I think that he put a man of the match performances in back-to-back legs in the semi-final against Real Madrid and the final against Manchester City. He is truly an incredible player. We are very lucky to have him. And, maybe due to the type of player he is, he won't get the credit or necessarily huge love he gets on his career until he's finished. But I genuinely think when we're talking, if we're talking greatest Chelsea midfielders of all time, he's got to be in that conversation because what he's achieved at Chelsea and the impact he's had on this team has been huge. He comes to us, he helps us win a Premier League. He is just an absolute rock, and he is, he's just someone we've got to hope, we manage well because obviously the injuries are starting to become a slight issue with him. But he is truly a brilliant player, and he's just such a lovely, humble, down-to-earth guy. So no, I don't think anyone could say a bad word about N'Golo Kante. What a signing he's been, and yeah, we did rob you for him.
Yeah, it goes down as one of the best centre defensive midfielders in Europe. I think with Kante, the shoes needed to be filled when he did leave, and I think Wilfred Ndidi's definitely done that. I think with the Mahrez situation, leaving Leicester, we haven't filled that position at all. I mean, N'Golo Kante, Wilfred Ndidi's took that role with both of his hands. The Mahrez one is a big question mark still in that Leicester squad, and Mahrez, what a player he is. Next one then, Nick, is injury news. Is there any injuries? What you can give Leicester fans for this weekend?
Yeah, I'll say we are obviously recording this before the Thomas Tuchel press conference, so we'll know, then. But obviously before the international break, we were without Mateo Kovacic, we were without Romelu Lukaku, we were without Timo Werner. Mason Mount had some issues with illness and I think wisdom teeth, etc. What he did come off bench against Burnley, Mason Mount should be in the squad, you'd imagine. It's a question of Lukaku has been pictured out there training. I'm not sure if that's just on his own or with the rest of the group. You'd imagine Lukaku is in the squad. Does he start? I don't know, but I'd imagine he will be an option Tuchel has. Timo Werner, I'm not sure on, but other injuries aside from that, probably I don't think there's anyone I'm really missing. I think most of our injuries should be fine by now.
Yep. Yuri Tillemans got injured against Leeds, 2 to 3 weeks. We believed from that Leeds game he'd be out for. Hopefully he'll be fit for this weekend. we've had our fair share of injuries. Obviously, Fofana is not long from coming back. What an incredible young prospect he's turned out. James Justin, he should be back for the Chelsea game. But these 4 players, when they do come back from them sort of injuries, they need to have game time, don't they, for like the under-23s and that, to get that match sharpness. Team selection then for Chelsea. What formation are we going to play? And what team are you going to put out?
Right. Well, I'd imagine we will be playing. We'll obviously be playing for 3 at the back. Obviously, it would be Mendy in goal. I'd imagine it's Antonio Rudiger on the left side of the center of the defense. I actually am not sure if Brazil have any more international games yet. So if Brazil have still got international games to play and Thiago Silva gets back in the early hours, then I'd imagine that rules him out. In which case we could well see Andreas Christensen in the middle and Cesar Azpilicueta on the right. Obviously, if Silva's fit, then maybe Christensen plays on the right and you've got Silva in the middle. Right wing back would be Reece James. Obviously, Ben Chilwell left wing back. Midfield pairing, N'Golo Kante is fit as far as I'm aware. Jorginho's fit as well. So I'd imagine those 2 would sort of play together. The front 3 is then, really interesting to say it is up for debate if Romelu Lukaku fit, etc. to start. What I would go for is probably something like Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left, Kai Havertz up top, and I'll say Mason Mount on the right-hand side. Obviously, that is subject to change. Christian Pulisic has just come back from injury, came off bench against Burnley before Burnley and Malmo, before the international break. US men's national team have been sort of managing his minutes, so he may well be an option. It is really hard to obviously tell at this point because we haven't really heard anything on Lukaku, and if Lukaku is fully fit, then I say we start from Lukaku in this team.
Yep. I think with the Leicester team, it's going to be a Sionchu, Evans, Daniel Amati maybe. It'll probably be 3 at the back. Or it might go 4 at the back with Ricardo, Castagna, Johnny Evans and Sionchu. Let's say we go with back 4. If Tielemans is missing, then it'll obviously be Samare and Ndidi, James Maddison. And then we'll probably play Adamo Lutman, Barnes and Vardy. But I'd love to see a 2 up front from Brendan Rodgers. He don't really play that much often. He always seems to play Jamie Vardy up front on his own. Kelechi Iheanacho answered our prayers, scoring goals last season. Him and Jamie linked up well, and it gave Brendan Rodgers that sort of oomph to say, you know what, we've got 2 players here who can actually play together and you'll get more goals out of them. If we can keep doing that, 2 up front, I think we'd be better scoring goals. 1 up front doesn't really work, does it? Because the striker has to keep coming back. And this zonal marking for me, I just feel it should be man for man and then get somebody on that back post, because set pieces is where you're going to hurt us in it a lot with the height of Rudiger, Thiago Silva, them sort of players, because you've got some really tall players. What are your tactics then to beat Leicester then, Nick?
Oh, look, I think it's kind of built on just Chelsea being defensively solid. As I mentioned, we haven't really conceded many goals. Say against Burnley, that was the first goal we conceded from open play. Look, the wing backs are a crucial part of our attack. They provide a lot of width for us. Sometimes they're kind of almost taking positions up in midfield. Really, Reece James against Burnley, was just everywhere. Really, you'd say the wing backs are kind of crucial to how we, get about it. They will be at the heart of it. Obviously, if it's Jorginho and Kante in there, then obviously we'll have Kante's energy and him bring the ball forward. We've just got to hope that, his distribution or his release into the final third can be a bit better than it has been at times this season. I think that's potentially where we will miss Mateo Kovacic, because he has been a player who's improved a lot this season. Obviously, he's been providing a lot more assists this year for us and has been playing a lot of crucial balls in the final third. But it's really simple. We've just got to be, we've got to defend well. I think, the way you play, you will come at us. You will leave some space in behind. There will be opportunities you give us. It's just a question of, can we be clinical? Against Burnley, we played so well. We created chance after chance, but we didn't take them, and then we got punished. We are quite good away from home, but I am also aware it is the 12:30 kickoff, and Thomas Tuchel had just been named manager of the month. Those are some moments. I think last time Thomas Tuchel got named manager of the month, we lost 5-2 at home to West Brom. So it's not, the best omen. But now, look, if it's simple. If Chelsea play how they can play and how well we know they can play, then as good as Leicester are, we should come away with a win.
Yeah. Let's have a look at your next 5 games. And after Leicester, you've got Manchester United, Watford, West Ham, Leeds, and Everton. How many points are you going to get out of that one? Them games. And which games are going to be tricky?
Well, if we've got serious aspirations of going for the Premier League title, those have got to be 13 points from those 5 games. Obviously, we've got to win the 3 home. 3 of those are at home: Man United, Leeds, and Everton. And Watford away, we should be beating Watford away. Leeds and Everton, we should beat. Manchester United, we should win. It's Solskjaer, but then I'm also aware that Ollie has got some weird juju sometimes and can just pull out results out of nowhere, especially when his job is on the line. But United's a team we should be winning. Honestly, you asked me, the team I fear the most there is West Ham. They've had a brilliant start to the season. We actually don't have a great record at their ground. So West Ham away is the one I fear the most out of all those next 5 games after you, to be honest.
Predictions for Chelsea then this season?
Well, I said at the start of the season on our podcast, we made some predictions for the season. Obviously, I said we'd win the Super Cup, and we've done that. The Club World Cup, when that comes around, we should win. I said we'd win the League Cup, and that's looking quite good now. City have been knocked out. The FA Cup, I said we'd get knocked down the 5th round because there's no way we're reaching another final after reaching 2 in a row. And then the Champions League is up in the air. That just depends on who we draw, how we do. But we could go far and back. I think this team has shown we're very capable of playing, knockout football. And in the Premier League, it's tough. Start of the season, I kind of predicted we'd come second. I thought we'd just fall short. Yeah. But as the season goes on, despite the fact that there are still some issues with us in that we're not clinical in front of goal, and our pets more too over-reliant on our defenders scoring some goals for us, I do get more and more confident. I just get a feeling with this team, we don't concede many goals. I think we can win the Premier League title this season. It's going to obviously be very tough because Manchester City are a very good team. Liverpool, despite injuries and maybe, their defence not being at their best, is still a threat. But I think this season has the potential to be very special for Chelsea. And I'm also saying this, I'm also aware that we're now in November and we're sort of entering a period of time where Chelsea in recent years tend to kind of fall apart and struggle in sort of the winter months. So I don't want to get too carried away and just, say something then in about 2 months' time, Thomas Tuchel sacked and we're 9th. But it's, I think we can be very optimistic about the season ahead for Chelsea fans.
Yep. Last one then. Score predictions for the weekend.
Right. This is tough. I do think, we'll win. I did see your game against Arsenal and I thought Leicester, it was, again, that's just one game in isolation, but I thought Leicester didn't look great. You created some chances, some decent chances, but I never really felt you were getting back into that game. I feel it's a question of what Chelsea turns up. If Chelsea turn up and we're really good and we're really professional, then I think we'll get the job done. I'll say 2-0, but obviously I'm aware that if we slip our level dips any below, then you could easily score. And as I say, Leicester away is not an easy place for us to go. I don't think we've won there since about 2017 under Antonio Conte. That's in the league anyway. Obviously, we drew there under Sarri, drew there under Frank, and lost there under Frank. So King Power has not necessarily been the easiest place for us to go. Obviously, that was Jose's last game as well when he got sacked at the King Power. So it's obviously not an easy place to go. You have beaten Man United there this season, so I'm not too confident, Craig. I'm just, I back this Chelsea team, sir. But no, I think, look, Leicester are a very good team. They will be a challenge. It's just, the way this Chelsea team is very just a confidence, and I think we will get the job done. It might not be pretty. It might not be, the most glorious football in the eye to watch, but I'll say optimistically we'll get a 2-0.
I'm going to go 3-2 Leicester. I think it's going to be a good game of football. I'm going to get Jamie Vardy to get at least 2. I think Barnes can get on 1. Obviously missed that sitter, didn't he, against Willy Caballero? If you remember that 2-2 draw. I think for Chelsea, if Lukaku's fit, he's going to score. And I think Thiago Silva is going to score as well from a corner because last time when you visited, I think it was Rudiger, scored twice from 2 set pieces. So that's my prediction for the weekend. I'm going to go for a Leicester win. Where can everyone find you then, Nick?
Well, we are on Twitter at that Chelsea Pod. We're on Instagram at that Chelsea Pod, although we're not very active on there. I apologise, people on there. We are on all kind of like usual podcast platform providers, Spotify, Apple, etc. Just search that Chelsea Podcast, and we should come up. Yeah, if there are any Chelsea fans listening to this, then come over and see us because we'd appreciate all the listeners and all the support we can get.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Nick, and giving us a really insight into the opposition ahead of the weekend. And good luck after Saturday.
Yeah, no, Jack, cheers for having me on. It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me. And yeah, the same to Leicester. Good luck for the rest of the season. You obviously want, once you've played us after Saturday.
All right, cheers, mate. See you in a bit.
See ya.
That was Nick from That Chelsea Pod, giving us an insight into the opposition ahead of the weekend. You've got to be confident going into this weekend, haven't you? Chelsea, you'll obviously be wary about their threat and that, and obviously Leicester's zonal marking. Hopefully we can fix them things, and Brendan's been given time to do it over the international break. Hopefully the players will look sharp on Saturday afternoon. And let's go get them 3 points, Leicester. Guys, if you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. Push that notification button on YouTube and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us wherever you can find us at Leicester Fan TV. Give us a follow. Follow us on Snapchat, Periscope. What's coming up on Leicester Fan TV then? Let's have a look. See what's coming up over the next coming days. Tomorrow is the Premier League predictions show with Tom. Get your Premier League predictions in. Who's going to win at the weekend? Let's see how many you can get right this weekend. Join Tom for that. It's 7:30. The pre-match show with Reedy, talking all things Leicester City on Friday. It's 7:30. The watch along, 12 o'clock. On Saturdays, Leicester host Chelsea at the King Power Stadium. On Sunday, it's the legendary aftermath show with Jamie at 10 o'clock. Get your coffees ready, get your feet up, and then go and enjoy the show. Get your comments in for Jamie and get your views in. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Leicester City win come Sunday morning. Thank you to these guys, ADT, Hollogram, Tiger, Pizzeria, Pukka Pies, Pinky, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, the Fox's Arms, Newby Co, and Hope Against Cancer. Thank you to all them guys for sponsoring us at Leicester Fan TV. What minute will the first goal be scored at the weekend? You can win yourself and a friend a £20 trip to the Chippy, each thanks to Pukka Pies. So get your minutes in when the first goal's coming in, and you could be a winner. As always, guys, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the likes. Really hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. It's been a pleasure. One thing to do then. Come on, Leicester. Let's go and get that win on Saturday against the Lions. Come on, boys. This is Jack from Leicester Fan TV saying good night and bye-bye for now.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.